Hello and welcome to another session of our Global Spotlight series. My name is Sarah Potts and I am a Global Youth Ambassador for MSU's Global Youth Advancement Network. I am joined here today by Dr. Steve Esquith. Dr. Esquith is a professor of political theory and ethics in the Department of Philosophy here at MSU. He has been engaging in work around ethical problems in developing countries since 1990 and was a senior Fulbright scholar in both Poland and Mali. Most recently, he has been working in Mali to develop a Peacebuilding through Photovoice project to empower Malian youth in camps for internally displaced persons. Welcome, Dr. Esquith, and thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks, Sarah. It's a pleasure. I'm really excited about the program that you have and hope that some of the things I have to say will be of interest to students, both MSU students and students abroad.
Can you start by telling us a little about the team that you have been working with in Mali and how you all came together to launch this Peacebuilding through Photovoice project?
Sure. So this is this current project is one of 4 or 5 projects which have been sort of organized in Mali by Malians with my help. And the current project, as you said, is a Photovoice project, which I'll say a little bit about later. But right now, let me just describe who's involved, because it is a big team. We have faculty from one of the universities in the capital city of Mali, Bamako, and their students, about 20 graduate students at the university. We have team leaders who are participants in past programs that we've run in Mali, who are now working for NGOs in Mali. One is the International Sports Alliance and the other is the Canadian Right to Play NGO. So they're working with us as team leaders. We have a photography studio that is helping us with technical training and skill building for the participants. And I would say the most important partner is a faculty member at the university in Bamako who was a AAP visiting scholar here at MSU and worked with me while she was here, and we've continued that collaboration over the last 3 years.
So as I've been looking into your work and the Photovoice project, I've noticed that this idea of everyday peace building, it seems to be a foundational concept for the work that you're doing. Could you describe for us what is meant by everyday peace building and also how that applies to the project that you're working on?
The primary way in which people who've been concerned with peace studies have approached the subject is through 3 versions of peace. There's peacekeeping, peacemaking, and peace building. Peace building can be done from the top down. It can be done by national truth and reconciliation commissions, and it can be done through international NGOs that provide food and support for families, educational programs, Save the Children programs. There's a lot of peace building that happens from the top down, both nationally and internationally. Everyday peace building is different. Everyday peace building starts by asking people in villages, so what would make your life more peaceful? What would make our life more peaceful would be something as simple as being able to go to the market safely and buy food every day. Something as simple as knowing that the teachers will be able to come to school and teach our kids and not have to fear for themselves or be drawn away because of other sort of demands on their time. So having schools open, having markets open, having the peace of mind to be able to go out in the evening and simply have a conversation with a neighbor. That's what everyday peace means to us, and that's what everyday peace building is about, and that's what we've tried to do through our program by empowering young people, by saying, you have a stake in everyday peace building. You don't have to be a lawyer, you don't have to be a teacher, you don't have to be a food security expert. You know, those people will come and they'll have their advice. But if you're not involved in your community, if you're not involved in sort of as a student in school, if you're not involved helping in the marketplace or helping your family sort of with childcare and house and addressing the food security needs of your family, all those other resources won't make a big difference. So it's about helping students and young people in their villages talk to one another about what role they can play as agents. We call them change makers, as change makers in their community from the bottom up. So peace building is a bottom up, everyday peace building is a bottom up activity as opposed to sort of top down peace building, which is also important, but doesn't really involve the youth. And our feeling is with so many young people in countries like Mali now who are concerned about their future and don't see opportunities for themselves, giving them a chance to play a role as change makers and everyday peace builders is exciting to us and exciting to them.
Thank you for that really helpful explanation. And I think it also speaks to the way that everyday peace building is really essential for international development work more broadly. I wonder if you could talk now more specifically about the Photovoice project and how the project is working to empower youth. I know I am especially curious about how you came to the decision to make use of Photovoice along with other forms such as written text.
Yeah. One is that many of the schools in countries like Mali and throughout the region, this is true, not just in Mali, have been closed over the last 4 years because of violence. The young people don't have the literacy skills they need to communicate, to learn about the world, and to communicate their views about the world. So photography provides them with another medium besides the written word to both understand better what's happening in their world and to communicate their own views about how things might progress, how to build a more peaceful everyday life.
Yeah, I would love to hear some stories or even see some examples. I know you've brought some photos with you today, photos that Malian youth have been taking in these camps, both photos that depict the great hardships and difficulties that they've faced, but also maybe photos that capture more positive emotions or maybe even assets toward peace building as well.
So the project has a complicated set of goals. We want to train university students to be mentors of the young people in the camps. We want to help their mentees express their views about the life in the camp, including either the absence of educational opportunities or the ways in which education occurs in the camps. We want to bring those two groups together in a way that they can discuss what they've seen and why they've chosen the pictures they've chosen with other people in the camps and outside the camps. So we see the project as a kind of stepwise project. The goal is to train the mentors, empower the mentees, and with the two of them working together, spark some community discussions and dialogues about what everyday peace could be in these camps and how life does go on within the camps, but how you make a life in these camps. So I do have some pictures that'll show you the range of images that both the mentees and the mentors have chosen and why they chose these pictures that they hope will become prompts in these community dialogues that we're organizing right now. So this is a picture taken by a young mentee, about 16 years old, Jade Jallo. He lives in a camp called Falajay. It's probably the most poorly resourced camp that we worked in, and this is a picture that he took after a rainstorm. It shows in the foreground the lack of sort of drainage and sanitation in the camp, and in the background the general quality of the living conditions for families in the camp. To that picture is a picture taken by another young mentee, about 16 years old, named Sidi Tal. He and other young people are part of a group that collects leaves off of the trees surrounding the camp. This camp is a different camp. This is called Mabile, and it's one of the better resourced camps. And the leaves are used as a material for a sauce, fakoy in the local language, Bamanakan. So they make a sauce that they put over millet, and that becomes the meal for the day for each family. This is a very different picture taken by another mentee, 17-year-old Musa Jallo. And this woman is from an ethnic group called the Fulani. She had to leave her village because of ethnic conflict between her villagers and a neighboring village. What struck Musa Jallo about this picture, and this is his language, was the dignity and the strength that he said he could see in her face and in her posture, and in the fact that as a Fulani, she was still wearing the jewelry that she would typically wear in her own village, right? That it was important to her to maintain those traditions and to sort of wear them proudly. This picture is taken by one of the university students, the mentors, Tenimba Sissoko, and it's taken in the third camp, Niamanan, and it's a picture of a group of young girls who've organized themselves as a kind of charcoal search party. So what they're carrying on their heads are buckets of charcoal that they have managed to find left over in other family cooking spots. And what Tenimba said she loved about this picture, she's the mentor, was the camaraderie and the enthusiasm, and you can you can see it in their posture, you can see it in the smile of the girl in the foreground. And she said when she talked to them, and she said, this is hard work, you know, and it's difficult work, it's really hot, it's always hot in Mali. They said, yeah, but it's time for us to be together. And this is the fifth picture, the last one, taken by one of the other university mentors, Maimuna Doumbia. This is also taken in Niamanan. And this is a picture she took because it breaks a stereotype, right? So this is a husband and wife working together to cook the family meal. Of husband and wife working collaboratively, cooking. Typically in a village like the village that these people come from, which is a Dogon village in Mali, the husband would not be there except when it was time to eat, right? But here they had to work together. So these are pictures taken by both mentors and mentees. We've discussed their captioning, we've discussed their arrangement, we've had workshops with 30 people in the mentor, 30 people made up of mentors, mentees, and team leaders about how to arrange the pictures and sort of organize a community forum to talk about these issues, right? How do people make a life? What kinds of education do young people get from role models like these two adults? Or what kinds of education do they get when they work together, like the group of girls collecting charcoal? And what kinds of needs does their community have for there to be everyday peace, like the sanitation sort of needs that the first photograph illustrated. So those are examples of about 30 pictures that we've selected out of over 500 taken over the last year and a half by the mentors and mentees.
Thank you so much for sharing those with us. It's really fascinating to see the different kinds of photos that the youth are taking and also hear their rationales behind why they took the photos too. I wonder if you could share with us any advice that you have for young people who would like to work in international development or who might just be looking for ways to be of value in other parts of the world.
For students who are thinking about development work, my advice would be that you want to learn something about the work before you make a major commitment to it, right? So going on a study abroad program, volunteering for an NGO that does work in these areas, so you get a better firsthand grasp of what everyday life is like in those situations.
And what about for young people who are interested in learning more about peace building, or they want to develop similar projects to the kind of project that you and the team have been working on in Mali? Do you have advice for them?
Well, I think being at the university is a real luxury, and you should take advantage of the fact that a place like MSU offers so many areas for study and connection with international students and international faculty. So, be curious. Be curious enough to take courses that may not be in your major. Take a language course that may not satisfy a requirement. Go to events that involve international students and international faculty.
It's great advice. Thank you so much for all the advice you shared and for sharing about the really important work that you're doing. So we have come to the end of our interview with Dr. Esquith. Thank you so much to Dr. Esquith for joining us and sharing about his work and experiences today. And thank you so much for watching.